Who won in court but lost in the court of public opinion? Ken McElroy, the Skidmore, Missouri town bully. His rap sheet included assault, statutory rape, child molestation, arson, animal cruelty, hog and cattle rustling, and burglary. Never convicted. One day he was shot and killed in broad daylight on a busy street. Nobody saw who did it. Cough cough. Escaped conviction 20 times. Edit, corrected. 21 indictments, 1 conviction. And this was right after the sheriff told the assembled mob not to do anything stupid, and then told the mob he had to go out of town right now for a couple of hours. Nudge nudge. In 1980, Lindy Chamberlain-Creighton was charged for the murder death of her daughter Azaria Chamberlain. They had been camping in the Australian bush when the baby disappeared. She claimed a dingo had taken her child, but the public thought that was preposterous. Despite locals who regularly camped in the area and indigenous people that lived there saying there were many dingo lairs nearby and that the creatures were extremely dangerous, they did little to no follow-up, and she was convicted because the public thought she behaved weirdly after the baby's death by doing things like smiling at a pleasant memory during the memorial. Not only that, she became a laughingstock around the world with the term "the dingo ate my baby," making it into shows as big as Seinfeld at the time. Years later, they found a dingo lair with scraps of Azaria's clothes because, shockingly, the people who live and regularly camp in the area actually know more than the police and general public and were correct. She was released from prison and her name was cleared, but she'll have to live the rest of her life knowing her baby was taken from her and the world treated her like a murderous clown. This, and the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, are a major lesson in how nobody should ever take what the media says about a case at face value. I have no idea how people could find it so unbelievably outlandish that a wild dog could attack a child. Right? Domestic dogs attack and kill children, but a wild dog for some reason couldn't? Apparently the expert they called in was from the UK or something and had no interactions with dingoes. All the people, especially indigenous people from that area, were like, yeah, this has happened before. They went through such lengths to discredit her. Jennifer Connell was called the worst aunt ever and the aunt from hell for suing her nephew. Her nephew basically jumped into her arms and the extra physical affection broke her arm. Became a really big deal when it happened. Thing is, she needed to name a person at fault for her injury for her insurance and named her nephew with his parents' permission. She wasn't actually suing her nephew, just getting insurance money so she could be treated. IIRC, the lawsuit was wholly initiated by the insurance companies since her injuries were being paid for by the kid's parents' homeowner's liability insurance policy. That's a pretty normal thing, but the media got wind and all hell broke loose. This woman just wanted her medical bills paid. So many of these crazy court case stories have medical expenses at the bottom of it. Old lady suing McDonald's over coffee just wanted her medical expenses, etc., etc. Richard Jewell, the man falsely accused of the Centennial Olympic Park bombings in Atlanta in 1996. He was a security guard and saved dozens of lives by spotting the bomb and clearing spectators. The FBI noted him as a person of interest, and his name was dragged through the mud by local and national media. While the FBI stopped investigating Jewell by October of that year, it wasn't until a couple of years later that his name was truly cleared when Eric Rudolph, the actual bomber, was caught. Jewell sued a number of media outlets and settled with a few of them for an undisclosed amount. No good deed goes unpunished. The dingo took my baby woman. Which turned out to be true as well. Lindy Chamberlain. That woman went through so much trauma almost entirely due to media sensationalism. Not only did she lose her daughter, she lost years of her other kids' childhoods, her marriage, her freedom, etc. She gave birth to a child while incarcerated, and was in prison for another 2 to 3 years after the child was born, which is just fucking heartbreaking. Lindy Chamberlain didn't win in court at first. She was falsely convicted of her daughter Azaria's murder and spent 3 years in prison over it. She got dragged over the coals hard by the media, to the point where they were saying that Azaria's name had something to do with sacrifices in the wilderness. As an Australian I can take a joke, but on some degree, I can't deny it. It infuriates me that this case has become a stereotype. Like it's a real thing that happened. A woman's baby was taken into the dead of night and eaten by a wild animal while they were out camping, and then she had to serve years in prison because thanks to the media and tabloids, everyone thought she was some weird religious freak who murdered her daughter in a ritual sacrifice. They only even found out she was innocent because some British guy fell to his death and happened to be in the general area next to the crucial piece of missing evidence, Azaria's bloody jacket. The City of New London in Kelo v. City of New London. The city was using the eminent domain to remove a nice lady from her home to build shopping complex. Made its way to the Supreme Court and a 5v4 decision won, and Kelo lost her home to provide economic opportunities. High-profile case where the public sided with Kelo but the courts sided with the city. Worst part, the developers skipped town not too long after the trial, and now that lady's home is an abandoned construction lot as of a few years ago. Jesse Ventura sued Chris Kyle for defamation, but after Chris' death the lawsuit continued and people smeared Jesse for suing a dead man's wife. Jesse eventually got a settlement. Also, Chris Kyle was a notorious liar. He claimed the government stationed him on top of the Superdome during Katrina to shoot looters, which would be murder that he's just admitting to. It's amazing that his life and confirmed accomplishments are enough to write an interesting book. Why lie so much? O.J. Simpson. He did lose the wrongful death civil trial, but yes, sure beat the criminal rap. This has more to do with the burden of proof now? It's considerably lower in a civil case. Yes. The difference in proof beyond a reasonable doubt and a preponderance of the evidence is huge. Casey Anthony. I still get so effing infuriated to this day. Everyone failed that poor baby. I can't believe how she used Firefox, but they searched her Internet Explorer history. It's baffling to me that in the process of searching her history they somehow though Firefox wasn't a web browser. Fucking stupid. Thanks for watching, and let us know in the comments below who lost in the court of public opinion.